I think that there is a double-edged sword when it comes to the game design around the echoes in this, you know, in this game, right? Because it's really cool that you can farm essentially the resin or artifacts of this game for free, right? You don't have to spend money on actually getting the echoes. You would just be spending money on the experience. And that's like really cool. And I think that's a really nice thing that actually long-term for the game will be a big benefit because it keeps exploration something that's actually worth doing. It makes it more engaging. There's a reason to go out and just like walk around. I mean, for streaming on a personal note, it's absolutely fantastic because I can literally just walk around and follow around in a particular echo that I need and just kill it for like 2 hours or more and like completely waste time. And like, it's great. Like, it's really fun. I think long-term for the game, it is one of the biggest benefits. But the problem is that it leaves a couple of things that we are familiar with when it comes to, for artifacts and for relics. Like, it leaves a couple of things impossible. Because you can infinitely farm echoes, you can't feed your crappy ones that you're not going to use because you will have an infinite number of them. And so they can't really let you do that. Like it's not going to work for the game. It's not good game design. And it's pretty easy to see why that is, realistically. It leaves them in this position where really what you end up farming is the experience, which is, I think, better overall. I think that there should be some kind of exchange system for it where you can exchange X amount of echoes for experience, as well as you can exchange X amount of echoes for other echoes. But the problem is that the re-rolling echoes thing is pretty useless past early game, in my opinion. What actual benefit is it for us to continue to be able to merge unused echoes? Because like you'll have most of the echoes and they're completely random, the merges. It's mega useless. And so I think that it would be nice if there was some way to convert echoes into experience or into tuners or something like that. I think that would be very helpful. But it would have to be a really high exchange rate. Like you guys have to understand, like you can farm echoes infinitely. And when you have a full data bank, a data bank level 20 and you're level 40, there's not a lot of benefit realistically to continuing to merge them. It's random both in terms of what you get and also the stats and everything. So like it would be something where they need to limit the conversions or it needs to be a really, really high exchange rate since it's an infinite farm. I think that one of the bigger problems in the game right now is that the rewards is not enough for the amount of wave plates you use in domains and stuff like that. I think that is a problem. We have to remember that we're doing the lower levels of all of these domains, you know, because none of us are at a world level where we can use the highest level of any of these domains. Like I don't think anybody is at that world level. I don't even know what that world level is. I think there's like 6 total. I think the highest you can probably get is like 4. And so you are doing the levels of the domains that just in every game have less rewards. So I think that there's like, it's a little bit of an early game problem, unfortunately, that I don't think can be totally fixed. I don't think that they should lower the amount of resin used, to be honest. I think that they should increase rewards so that it's not so misery. But part of the problem is if they increase the rewards now, it's gonna mess up farming later when we get access to the higher level of the domains. You see what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of different issues with this. Because if they increase rewards really heavily now, the later domains are going to possibly have too many rewards and it's going to be too easy to build characters. And they can't necessarily make it too easy to build characters late game because gacha is grind. That is the game. That is what gacha games are inherently. The reality about echoes is that it is essentially the equivalent of artifacts or relics. And artifacts or relics, if you played Hoyoverse games, are endgame content. It's endgame content even in like Cookie Run Kingdom. It's the last thing that you do. In any gacha game, you're gonna build your characters, you're gonna build your account, you're gonna build out your teams, all of the weapons, everything that you need first. And then you are going to do your like echoes, your relics, and your artifacts. And the reality is that we're not really technically in endgame right now. And so it's like, it's kind of hard for me to say that I think that it needs to be completely changed. Because the reality is that we're basing it off of being able to farm early game domains. Because you're not supposed to have like a maxed team week 1. You're not supposed to be able to, as a normal, like free-to-play or low-spender player, to be able to clear all content. That's not reasonable. That's not normal in any game. How many of y'all were completing end game content in Honkai Star Rail in your first week? How many of y'all were completing MOC in your first week? I think that's true to say. I think access to gold echoes being so early, it feels a little bit confusion because it feels like, okay, well, I got gold echoes. I should be able to just use the gold echoes. It should take longer. You should have to grind in gacha games, but it's hard because you can get gold echoes so early. And I think that that makes it feel like, okay, it's time now. I got to do it. It's time. It's time. We got to do it. We got to do it. But like, you should not be able to clear all of the endgame content so early. I think there are a lot of things that could be done differently. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that I don't agree that there needs to be like a massive change to how the ecosystem works in general. I think that there are a couple of things that are different about this game that if you've played a lot of Hoyo games that are going to feel kind of weird and confusing and possibly a little bit bad, because in Hoyoverse games, when you get access to 5-star relics being like actively available to you, that is more or less when you should start trying to build that way. I think that the reality is that later in the game, when people are hitting their maximum like domain rewards and stuff like that, this is not going to be that much of a problem. And I don't know if I agree that it should be heavily tuned based on people's annoyance about it now, especially those who have sped run content crazy style, because it can fuck with the tuning later on in the game when the game is fully developed. It is a weekend. We should not have access to fully developed teams a weekend to a gacha game. We should not. That's not how gacha games work. It wouldn't be good for the game because then why would you continue to log in? They keep you logging in because you have to grind. And so I think that this is a bit alarmist. I think that it is, we're gonna be honest, primarily content creators who have sped run the game who have this problem and are really like upset about this problem. I'm not saying that they're wrong entirely, but like, I don't think that this is like a long-term issue, and I don't think that this should be fixed for everyone because I think that it is a very particular part of the player base that is dealing with this. And that's not to say that they shouldn't have done a better job of making it clear what your priorities are, but in every gacha game, what you do, you farm your characters, you level your characters, you level their abilities, you level your weapons, you level your account, you do all of that stuff, and then you do your echo equivalents. And so, like, it feels really good to get all these gold echoes, but I don't think that you should be able to perfect your builds. I don't think that you should, like, the fact that people are upset that their late game grind is being affected, we're not in late game. Late game is literally not available in the game. Most people are gonna take like at least another 2 weeks to even get to like higher levels of the game. Like it's not, I do think that they should have locked echoes for a little bit longer. I think that the data bank should have been harder to do. I don't think we should be able to just feed our old echoes or crap echoes into our new echoes if they're unleveled. I don't think this is a long-term issue. I think this is an issue of people who have sped run the game and completed like all of the content in a very, very limited window of time. And now they're like, well, I want to min-max. I want an end game. I want to be better at end game. I want more. I want more. I want more. And it's like, you burn through all the content. That being said, I do think that the echo tuner issue with the blues and the purples, I think that there needs to be some system of being able to merge your old tuners, like your lower level tuners into the higher level tuners, 100%. And I think it should be the same thing as that like 3-to-1 kind of ratio that it usually does, because I think that's fair. Because there's no reason to have blue and purple tuners past past mid-game. But I think that this is sort of an issue of people getting ahead of themselves. I think this is an issue of people speed running a game and then going like, but there's no more content. And it's like, you weren't supposed to do all of that content yet. And as a content creator, yes, it makes sense for content creators to spend 18 hours a day and a ton of money to get through content as quickly as possible. But that does leave the risk that you're going to be gated because it is still in, like, we're on the first day of week 2 of this game. So yes, when you speed run and burn through content and spend money to burn through content, you are going to be gated on some of the stuff that is available to you, and you're not going to have all of the end game available to you because you're not supposed to be in endgame. And if that's how you like to play and you're not a content creator, that's fine. But there is a reality that this game is not balanced for people who sat down and were like, I'm taking the week off and I am doing nothing but playing this game, I'm not even gonna get up to pee. I'm gonna have a piss bucket. And I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna spend $500 and I'm gonna grind so hard that I complete every single thing. Like, it's not tuned for people who money whale or time whale in that way. If you do that, yes, you are going to run out of things to do. But like, give it a little bit of time because we don't even have all of these domains unlocked. And I'm not saying it's completely not an issue. I think there is still, like, it feels bad right now because it feels like the cost does not match up with the benefit of some of these domains. But I don't think that this applies as much to echoes as people are saying, because in a couple months, we're gonna have way more of the game open to us, and we're going to have these higher level domains that will give more rewards. If by the time we get there, it's still not giving adequate rewards, sure. Our world level is not that high. We're at world level 4. Think about the difference between how many rewards you get in HSR from like one world level to the next. It's very significant. Actually, I'd say HSR also sort of has this problem where they're very stingy with the resources you get from your domain runs. But like, this is the end game grind. I think it's much better that the end game grind is for experience and not for the actual stat sticks. Because it's way worse to spend your experience on the RNG of getting the stats that you want. Like, or not your experience, your resin on the RNG of getting the stats you want. You can farm infinitely for the stats that you want. It's just the experience part sucks, and you can feed them once they're leveled. I don't think it is reasonable that you would be able to have min-maxed characters in the first 2 weeks. And so, like, I don't know necessarily enough about game design or game development or, like, any of that shit to be able to tell you exactly what it is that needs to be fixed. I think that there is an issue of tuners because I think you should be able to take your shitty ones and make them into nicer ones. It's supposed to be cost prohibitive to min-max your characters. How many of y'all have been farming the same characters in HSR for months and still don't have perfected stats? It's supposed to take months to min-max your characters unless you spend crazy money. It's supposed to. It's a gacha game. So they make the ability, the RNG part of this unlimited, right? You can get as many relics as you want. You could do this for hours. You could do this endlessly. You could fucking do it forever, especially if you have friends. You could do it and then you could go do it in your friend's world and then their friend's world, and you can do it endlessly. It should be prohibitive for you to level them up, or else this game is going to be whack fuck balanced. The balancing of this game depends on it being prohibitive for you to level these, because if you can just infinitely farm this and easily level these up, the game is going to diminish in returns in terms of continuing the grind very, very quickly. I think that there are absolutely and 100% changes that need to be made and things that need to be fixed. But I think overall, this is a complaint of wanting to be able to complete, like, do the entirety of a game that is not entirely finished. We need to relax. We need to allow the game to continue to update. We need to get our max world levels before we make these kind of determinations about the ecosystem. It should be prohibitive to min-max your characters, period. It is a gacha game. If you don't have to log in every day to do your grind, the gacha game will fail. Think about your characters month 1 of Genshin Impact or Honkai Star Rail of you playing it. Your characters were dog shit. I can tell you this for sure. And I think it seems like, oh, I should be farming these echoes crazy style because you can get them so early. This is endgame. The artifact grind, this is the endgame. This is endgame in every gacha game. It should be prohibitive. It feels bad. Personally, I think the worst issue right now is like how hard it is to level your characters, like how much it costs. I think the rewards should be increased. However, I also understand realistically that if they increase the rewards too much, it's going to be too easy to build your characters too early, and it's going to fuck up the game. It is not going to be worth it to continue playing this game if you're getting too many rewards too early, because what is the point of continuing to log in? I understand if you're somebody who's like burned through all the content that feels shitty, but like we're on levels, I'm on level 60 at level 33. I don't think you're gonna be able to increase these. We're on phase 5. I think the max you can get would be 5, but I don't know if anybody's even level 40 yet. You still have 3 more levels of domains up to phase 7 before you're going to be getting your full rewards from this. You should not be getting like a ton of rewards. You're on the 3rd level. Think about the lower levels of domains in other games like this, in Hoyo games. So like, please, we need to remember this is a new game and it's different from Hoyo games. Chill the fuck out is the point of this. This is a new game. You should not be completing like the end game grind so easily. Chill. I think there are adjustments that could and should be made. I'm not gonna speak on exactly what those are. I have a couple of ideas, but I'm not gonna speak on what those are because I'm not a game designer. I'm not a game dev. I don't know anything about anything. But what I do know is like, if they make it too easy for y'all to min-max your characters off jump, y'all will stop playing the game and then go, oh, Wuthering Waves is not that good. The content, there's not enough content. But if you sped run the game and now you're mad you don't have enough content, well, I'm sorry to tell you that's how it works. Most people are not doing that. They're not gonna make the game to suit those people. They're going to suit the game for casual people. I think that there is something to be said about the rewards right now, but we have to remember we are not max world level. It was hard to level characters in other games too, early on, and that's fine. This is no shade to content creators who've been talking about this. I wanna make that clear. They have a different perspective on the game though. And I would say even I would say I'm probably further into the game than a lot of casual people. Because I think on Twitch, people are going to say like, oh, I'm level 33, 35, whatever. But y'all on Twitch are the most hardcore people. Because you are actively interacting with the community on a deeper way. So y'all on Twitch, tell me what union level you are. Let me know what union level you are. We'll look. But like the reality of the situation is that y'all are going to be like some of the more hardcore players. 33, 35, yeah. Y'all are going to be the more hardcore players. When you're higher level like this. Y'all are the most hardcore parts of this fan base because you are most engaged in gacha and most engaged in this. Chill. Don't burn through content and then go, oh, well, there's not more content. You burnt through it. You incinerated all the content and now you're mad. You can't do that and then expect that there be more. You have to wait. That's why I've been playing this game so very slowly. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below on YouTube. I was a bit hesitant to really talk about this because most of the times when I talk about game design stuff, people get a little bit upset at me. But I think that this does need to be said. We need to keep in mind that this game is made for casual people to enjoy, not people who are time and money whaling crazy style. And like, if you are doing that, it's a little bit unfair to say that the game is not good or doesn't have enough content because you burn through all the content in a week. So yeah, I'll see y'all later. Have a good one. Come by on Twitch if you want to hang out. I stream every day, 10 a.m. PST until I can't stand up anymore. Bye-bye.